This is CBN NewsWatch.
Thanks for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Mark Martin. With the debate in Washington heating up over calls by Democrats to impeach the president, his approval rating among Republicans is up. Dale Hurd has more from the CBN newsroom on that and the groundswell of grassroots support it's caused. Dale.
Mark, after the Democrat-controlled House on Tuesday passed a resolution condemning Trump's tweet against 4 liberal congresswomen, the president's poll numbers with his GOP base went higher. Trump criticized them for criticizing America, telling them to go back to the countries they came from. One Republican strategist said he thinks there was a method to the president's very controversial tweets to make the squad, as they're known, the face of the Democratic Party before the 2020 election. And while the president is getting pummeled in the mainstream media, he still has the support of many Americans. Drive down Red House Road in Appomattox, Virginia, and the sign in front of Friendship Baptist Church reads, "America, love it or leave it." The man behind it is Pastor E.W. Lucas. He usually puts sermon titles on the sign.
I thought I was going to make some remarks regarding the situation in Washington. It just came to me. I just said, America, I love it. And if you don't love it, leave it. Since we've had favorable comments on it, I thought I'd just leave it a while.
Lucas says people should be grateful for living in America.
People that feel hard about our president and feel down, more down the president and down the country and everything, they ought to go over there and live in some of these other countries for a little while.
And Lucas says his duty as a pastor to speak what he believes is the truth comes first.
Preachers, by and large today, are afraid they're going to hurt somebody's feelings. And when I get in the pulpit, I'm afraid I won't hurt somebody's feelings.
Mark, neither side appears to be backing down, setting things up for a heated 2020 presidential election.
All right, Dale Hurd, thanks for that report. And be sure to catch Faith Nation this evening on the CBN News Channel for more analysis on this story. Several immigrant rights groups are planning to challenge the State Department's new third country rule for asylum seekers. It requires immigrants to first apply for asylum in a country they travel through before trying to do so in the United States. In practical terms, it would mean that migrants traveling north through Central America would have to seek refuge in a safe country like Mexico before attempting to cross into the U.S. to ask for asylum. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo told CBN News he supports the rule.
Every country has a duty, and it's under international law too, that says folks who travel have this obligation to stay in the first country that they can go to that is safe if they're seeking asylum. I wish that Congress would pass laws that would make this simpler and more straightforward.
Joining us now to talk about it is Jacinta Ma with the Immigration Forum. Welcome, Jacinta.
Thank you for having me.
What is your take on the new immigration rule?
The new immigration rule sets out a standard that effectively prevents all Central Americans from applying for asylum. It really sends a message that the United States is not welcoming asylum seekers and that we're willing to turn a blind eye to people who are suffering persecution.
What do you say about a new Harvard-Harris poll that says a majority of Americans agree in mass deportations of illegal immigrants? What are your thoughts on that?
You know, we believe that, we are a nation of laws. We believe in rule of law. And if people have the ability to make their case, to be heard, to have gone through due process, there's no reason that they should be able to stay in the United States.
Do you agree that every safe country has a duty to offer asylum for those who come to its borders seeking it?
You know, we have a third-party agreement with Canada right now that basically says that if you transit through Canada, that you need to apply for asylum in Canada before you can apply for asylum in the United States. And that makes a lot of sense for Canada. You know, we have great regard for their systems and their ability to provide asylum and provide a safe place for people to live. But countries like Guatemala and Mexico, which is the the countries that we're mostly talking about that people would have to apply for asylum in, they don't have the same resources. They don't have the same level of safety in those countries that we do in the United States and in Canada. So until we're able to help those countries improve their asylum and refugee systems, to help the other countries where people are feeling like they need to flee, we really need to address some of these longer term problems that are causing them to feel as if they need to leave. Countries in Central America, such as Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador, have some of the highest murder rates in the world, and people just don't have the same sort of confidence and ability to get recourse, to get safety. There's a lot of corruption.
Well, quickly, how do you think that the United States can best handle the influx of immigrants coming across our southern border then?
We have a lot of ability in our systems to address things like this. We just really need our personnel to be more coordinated, to have some more personnel. We can and have the right kind of personnel who can help children and take care of them properly. We are a great nation, and so we have the ability to address a problem like this. And I think, if we put our minds to it, if we put the right resources to it, certainly we can do this and make sure that people have the right to be heard, including children who come across the border by themselves.
Obviously, it's very complicated on our southern border, and there is a huge influx and a lot of troubles that our immigration officials are dealing with. All right, Jacinta Ma with the Immigration Forum, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is drawing national attention to the reality of religious persecution. Victims actually got to share their stories at a special summit at the State Department, and CBN News national security correspondent Eric Phillips brings us their stories.
This is the second year the State Department has hosted this ministerial, and the secretary says it underscores how important religious freedom is to this country and to this administration.
Religious freedom is universal and inalienable.
Organizers wanted to show the personal cost with this video of actual victims of religious persecution. The room packed with people representing nations and religions worldwide, so many wanting to attend that organizers cut off registration weeks ago because they'd reached capacity.
We've hit a nerve here that people want religious freedom, and they want it now.
All people from every place on the globe must be permitted to practice their faith openly in their homes, in their places of worship, in the public square, and believe what they want to believe.
Unfortunately, one only has to go back 9 months to find examples of faithful suffering because of their beliefs. Some of those victims speaking here. October 2018, 11 killed at a Pennsylvania synagogue.
The perpetrator of the massacre in the Tree of Life not only stole 11 beautiful lives that he had no God-given right to do, but he stole the faith of countless Jews.
March 2019, 51 worshipers killed at a New Zealand mosque, including Fareed Ahmed's wife.
I had to go home alone. Then I had to tell my daughter that her mother would never come back home again.
Easter Sunday, 2019, suicide bombers killed 250, including many children in Sri Lanka.
And on that fatal day, when the Sunday school teacher questioned them, how many of you are willing to die for Jesus? Almost all of them raised their hands.
And we see it as a global crisis that has received far too little attention. A global crisis that we are determined to reverse.
And they hope this gathering, billed as the largest human rights and religious freedom event ever, will help spark that reverse. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says his own Christian beliefs compel him to fight for the freedom of others, not just in this country, but around the world. Eric Phillips, CBN News at the State Department.
The fallout deepens between the United States and Turkey as President Trump announced the U.S. is not going to sell F-35 fighter jets to its fellow NATO member. The move comes after the predominantly Muslim nation bought a new missile defense system from Russia. The president blamed the Obama administration for never reaching a deal with Turkey on an American missile defense system. The U.S. says the Russian system could jeopardize sensitive military information. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu will make history Saturday by becoming the longest-serving prime minister in the Jewish state's history. Netanyahu's supporters credit him with keeping Israel safe and prosperous, maintaining its Jewish character, and boosting its standing internationally. His opponents say he's dashed hopes for peace with the Palestinians. Netanyahu will face what may be his toughest political challenge in September when he faces his second re-election vote this year. Planned Parenthood says its clinics will stop taking federal money rather than comply with a new federal rule. Yesterday, HHS announced family planning clinics that receive taxpayer dollars cannot refer women for abortions. Planned Parenthood's chief lobbyist told the Associated Press it won't comply with the rule and will press Congress to change it. All this as former President Leanna Wen, who's only been on the job for 8 months, left this week over disagreements about the organization's direction. Coming up, some would say most Americans have a love affair with sugar, and we know too much isn't good for us. Coming up, why one specialist says actually goes so far as to say it's literally killing us.
It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh, no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
Young people, millennials, are flocking to church.
It's not an exaggeration to say that we love to meet them and that we love to know their stories.
Come home to the Southern Gospel Station from CBN Radio. You'll enjoy a rich Southern blend of bluegrass, classic gospel, and Southern Gospel favorites. CBN Southern Gospel. Available now at cbnradio.com.
Woohoo! Hi, Superbook fans. Here's something else you'll love. It's the new Superbook Bible app. It's packed with games, activities, and Superbook episodes that you can watch for free. Oh, no! There's trivia, a fun daily devotional, and answers to your Bible questions. Plus, an easy-to-understand Bible the whole family will enjoy. You can even create your own Superbook character. Ta-da! Whoa!
A Millsburg Falls man coming.
Sorry, pardon me. Sorry, excuse me. Ouch!
Are you getting this?
Earn super points to win daily prizes, too. And so much more! Time to get back to my adventures. See you soon. It's the new Superbook Bible app. Free downloads on iTunes, Google Play, and Amazon.
Welcome back. Research has shown that people who consume lots of sugar are more than twice as likely to die from heart disease. And artificial sweeteners aren't any better. CBN News health reporter Lori Johnson shows us that's just one of the reasons to make it a top priority to give them up.
When we think of addiction, we tend to focus on drugs and alcohol. But more doctors say we should also consider sugar.
Sugar is the source of all chronic disease. It's one of the biggest contributors. And we know that solid tumors, cancers, feed on sugar.
Dr. Vincent Pedre is one of a growing number of physicians warning consuming too much sugar not only fuels cancer, but also heart disease and Alzheimer's.
And let me clarify that, because when I say consuming too much sugar, people think, well, I don't eat dessert, so I don't have a lot of sugar. But then they're eating bread, rice, pasta, or scones. They're not thinking of that as sugar. But sugar comes from all of these sources. We break down the carbohydrates and they become sugar.
An estimated 3/4 of Americans are addicted to sugar and don't know it. But food manufacturers do. They add sugar to nearly everything, including things that might not seem sweet, like crackers and yogurt, to keep customers coming back for more. Most people might be shocked to discover they consume 100 times more sugar than their ancestors did back in the 1800s. And that's at the root of their health issues.
Bloating, abdominal pain, but also sinus congestion, mental fog, memory issues, fatigue, achiness, joint pains. These are all symptoms of consuming too much sugar in all of its forms. But people don't connect the two.
Scientists used lab animals to prove sugar is even more addictive than illicit drugs.
So sugar stimulates the same parts of the brain as cocaine. So I tell people that sugar is cocaine for your brain. And by that I mean it affects the dopamine pathways. And dopamine is the neurotransmitter that makes you feel good, that things are great.
A little is never enough.
Because that's the design of the neural circuit in the brain. It's going to want more hits. And it keeps wanting more and more because it becomes desensitized to small amounts.
That's why he recommends quitting sweets cold turkey.
The craving is not going to last longer than 10 to 20 minutes. So if you don't give in to the craving initially, eventually it's going to pass because your body is going to realize that it doesn't really need that for survival.
Or at least substituting whole fruit.
Now, the chocolate chip cookie is going to be a much faster hit for the brain. So you get that quicker satisfaction. If you have a fruit, let's say an orange or some berries, you need to give it a little more time. The feedback is going to happen. It's just going to take a couple of minutes.
When it comes to sugar substitutes, while whole fruit is okay, avoid artificial sweeteners because research shows they're actually worse than the real thing. In his book, Happy Gut, Dr. Pedre explains that artificial sweeteners harm our immune system by disrupting the bacteria in our digestive tract.
It reduces a type of bacteria that tends to be found in lean, healthy people, and it increases another type of bacteria in this genus called Bacteroidetes that is found in people that are obese.
Studies show people who regularly use artificial sweeteners gain more weight. Their ingredients trigger insulin resistance.
If you're becoming deaf and you have to turn the volume up higher, your body is becoming deaf to the signal, the insulin signal. So your body jacks up the insulin. But if insulin is high, what happens is it tells your body, it turns on genes that say, store fat.
The good news? Intermittent fasting can often reverse insulin issues. That means, for instance, going without food for 12 hours.
The idea behind intermittent fasting is that when you're not eating, you're allowing your insulin levels to drop. You're allowing insulin receptors to reset. So then what's happening towards the end of the fast is you're increasing insulin sensitivity. So you're making your body insulin sensitive again.
Intermittent fasting also repairs our cells and turns on longevity genes. So it might not be easy, but giving up sweets in their many forms, including artificial sweeteners, could pay off big time. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
Coming up, one of Disney's most beloved stories comes back to the theaters.
I am Regent's first ROTC graduate student.
When you give, smiles grow bigger. When you care, homes are happier. When you comfort, the hurt goes away. When we all come together to love, miracles happen.
Disney's Lion King has been a hit in every way over the years, from the animated movie to the Broadway sensation, and now it's coming to life on the big screen in a CGI live-action movie. Studio 5's Ephraim Graham gives us a closer look at the making of the movie with all the creative and star power behind it.
Everything the light touches is our kingdom. But a king's time as ruler rises and falls like the sun. One day, the sun will set on my time here and will rise with you as the new king.
Lion King was a story that people knew intimately.
Simba.
The reason The Lion King has endured is because the inspiration that we're getting from it is universal.
It's a story that remains true to everybody.
The songs are amazing. Just felt like everything you want from a Disney movie.
Getting to relive it in a new way is really exciting.
What's the motto?
Nothing. What's the motto with you? Nice! Boom!
I'm entering into Lion King, inheriting all that I learned on Jungle Book. There was a tremendous opportunity to retell the story using a new set of tools and a new technology.
John just seems to have it all there. It's really impressive how he just sort of holds that all together.
I really admire the vast array of talent that's been assembled for this film. It's a privilege to be counted among these actors.
Dad, let me come. I can help.
No, son, you stay with the other cubs.
And then the music, there was such a rich tradition surrounding the songs that Hans and Elton and Tim Rice and now Pharrell worked on. Also, it's nice to have actors who are both the performers and the singers. You have Beyonce and Donald. They present something totally new and exciting.
You have to take your place as king.
These are real musicians bringing their creative voices to this.
Hakuna Matata. Hakuna Matata, Hakuna. It's our problem-free philosophy. Hakuna Matata.
You guys sounded great. I feel really blessed to be a part of it.
It was just crazy getting such an iconic role. Let's do this. I was super excited.
John gave JD and I so much freedom to create that great relationship between young Nala and young Simba.
Pinja, you owe me an apology.
Yeah, scene 55.
Let's just play around with it.
For an animator, what's incredibly valuable is the performance of the actor. So instead of doing motion capture, we wanted to film the actors performing together as much as possible. So we got a very human performance at the heart of this very technical film.
It's a lion! Run for your life! Boom!
How much research did I do? I've been living as a meerkat for about 4 years now, but I still kept my phone.
Who is the brains of this operation?
I researched how hyenas and lions actually don't like each other at all. That's perfect, because I am starving.
If you're asking me whether I lived as a bird for 6 months, no.
Sire, hyenas in the Pride Land.
All I have is this voice, louder or softer.
The cast is just amazing, and we're very excited to have Beyonce as Nala.
Where have you been?
And I think it's very important that Mr. James L. Jones came back for the voice of Mufasa.
Remember who you are.
It's wonderful to have the tremendous opportunity to bring something fresh and new and different while still maintaining the spirit of the original Lion King.
This has been a really incredible experience. I've never seen anything made this way before. The level of care where everybody knows how much it means and everybody's that invested.
Seeing you again, you don't know what this will mean to everyone.
We wanted to capture what people's memory was of this with both the music and the imagery. And I think when you could capture the spirit but show them something new and surprising, it's sort of the best combo.
It is time.
Wow, looks like a great movie. That technology is amazing. You can find this story and much more on the latest edition of Studio 5 with Ephraim Graham right here on the CBN News Channel at 9:30 Eastern. Still ahead, the power of praise to bring about a miracle. One family's amazing story will surely inspire your faith.
We will move the American embassy to the eternal capital of the Jewish people, Jerusalem.
As the nations rage, you can stand with Israel.
History is being written, and I want to be a part of it.
Call 1-800-700-7000 and get to life.
This is our nature as a country.
Discover the untold story of how Israeli volunteers are changing the world.
We consider it our duty to reach out and help others around the world.
For a gift of $10 or more, you can own the acclaimed CBN documentary To Life.
To treat a human, no matter what he is, which religious he have, which color he is, this is what I'm doing.
Support Israel in their time of need. Get to Life, now available on DVD. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to cbn.com.
And I wish that other people throughout the world could see this side of Israel.
Orphans Promise is committed to loving and serving at-risk children, to helping keep families together, and to creating opportunities for strong and sustainable communities around the world. We're working in over 60 countries around the world, and with your help, we can do even more. There's an old African proverb I love that says, if you want to run fast, run alone. But if you want to run far, run together. At Orphans Promise, we want to run far so we can touch the lives of as many orphaned and vulnerable children as possible. But we don't want to go alone. We're out to change the world, one child, one family, one community at a time. Will you join us?
A family is praising God after a drowning accident turned into a miracle. The Floyd family was vacationing at Holden Beach in North Carolina when 12-year-old Levi dived into the waves but did not come back up. His dad found his lifeless body and pulled him out of the water. Two nurses who were on the beach, one a relative, began CPR. Despite those efforts, it looked like Levi might not make it, so his family started worshiping and praying on the beach until they heard Levi was breathing. His mom said she remembered shouting to the family, "Sing louder, babies, just worship him louder, sing louder." Gives you chills. Everyone involved believes they saw a miracle on the beach that day. Great way to end the show. Well, that's it for this edition of Newswatch. You can find more on the issues you care about most at cbnnews.com. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.